Welcome, Spark. So what kind of Spark are you? Player? Creator? Or both? The stories yet to be told. The games to be made. Civilizations and societies to be formed. The universe is waiting for you to bring it to life. Now, how do we begin?
Hello everyone. Hey guys. Welcome to a special timed Tuesday education stream. Special time because cool thing is at our usual time of 12 o'clock, we were actually showing off Project Spark to a bunch of Microsoft employees, showing all the cool creation tools, talking about all your awesome games that you've been making. So we were there, and now we're here. And so in this Tuesday education stream, we are going to be talking about scoring, how to put a score system in your game.
And setting up a little bit of a game in the process.
Exactly. So we are going to make a game that I have not come up with a punny name for it yet. So for the meantime, I will be calling it Squirreling Around. So the idea of this game is it's actually similar to a early game. Well, I guess it's not like too long ago, but it was back on the Wii. It was the very first Raving Rabbids game. There's this really funny mini game in it where you had all of these rabbits misbehaving, and it was your job to find out who was misbehaving and tell them they're misbehaving, and then and the ones who are on good behavior tell them they're on good behavior. So, anyways, the purpose of this little game that we're going to be doing to show off scoring is we got all these squirrels. Some squirrels are good squirrels, and some squirrels are going to be misbehaving. So I've put down all these squirrels before even putting brains in them, which I probably should not have done. But anyways, so you're going to be I'm going to set up one round here, and you have to kind of click on each squirrel, decide if they're misbehaving or behaving well. Mm-hmm. And then you have to do this all within, let's say, 30 seconds. We're going to set a 30-second timer. Then at the very end of this game, then you will get a score screen that calculates how many squirrels you correctly identified, how many squirrels you got wrong, and then also your final rating for this game. So we're going to do kind of a rating of, like, you have between a 1 and a 3 squirrel rating. So, yeah. All right, so let's jump into it. We have these squirrels now. The very first thing I want to do is some of these squirrels will be good squirrels. So I'm going to call this a good squirrel. And some of these squirrels are going to be bad squirrels. So I'm going to call this guy a bad squirrel. Alright, so my good squirrels, I don't want them doing anything. They're just minding their own business. Let's get rid of this brain here. The only thing I want to do is I want to just highlight them green, just for testing purposes. Mm-hmm. They won't be highlighted green when we're playing. Well, actually, let's make it challenging at least for ourselves. So I'm not going to do anything to this squirrel. But this squirrel, the bad squirrel, he's going to be jumping up and down, and he can't quite stop jumping. So we are just going to simply do jump, and then
that should be it.
Yeah, he'll just jump every time he's done jumping,
yep.
Right? Let me just check to see how this looks. Yeah, look at that. Just keeps on jumping. Look at the little squirrel who's trying to get in that little enclosure there. Okay, so that's the general idea. We have a good squirrel who's behaving nicely, bad squirrel who's jumping up and down.
Right.
So let's bring in my favorite, Elijah Cube. Let's get rid of the squirrel.
No wild squirrels.
No, only the squirrels I designate. All right, let's find a logic cube here. Let's bring this guy in. the first thing we want to do is we want to have a separate logic cube. Logic cubes I just use to put code in it that we'll be using for the game. This one will be called scoring.
Good one.
I know, nice and original. I like to keep these original. And I'm going to color this red. I don't know why, but for some reason I always, whenever I'm making a game, the things that deal with score, I always put as red. So we want to do a few things once. We want to set a bunch of number variables. Number variables are, these are basically things that we're going to be tracking within the game. So we have correct guesses is one number variable. We're going to set that as equal to 0 because you start out each round with no correct guesses. Then we have wrong guesses. This is when you wrongly identify a squirrel. Then we are going to have the timer. That's the time that you start on. It's going to be a 30-second round. So we are going to set the timer as equal to 30. And then we are lastly going to have a stage score. And that's your total score. So all these things are going to calculate together. These are all the things we're going to calculate together. Alrighty, so we have our squirrels, we have some initial number set. Let's actually talk about our camera. Here's something I haven't really seen many people doing with cameras, is having kind of a omnipotent camera that kind of scrolls back and forth.
An omnipotent camera that can see everything everywhere in your game at the same time? That's amazing. Show me how.
I like to call it omnipotent. It makes it sound really important when it's just a camera. You know, cameras, I feel bad for them. They're just cameras. Alright, so here's a cool thing we're going to do. This is going to be our camera. We're going to put in here, we're going to make this a boom camera. We're going to give it a pitch of 90 degrees, so it's looking directly down at the world. So we're going to go ahead and set that here. Then we're going to make this pretty far away. So we're going to set a distance of, let's say, 25 meters. So it's pretty high up in the world. And now we are going to add in something that also works on controller. You go to mouse. You go to mouse position, so when mouse position, so now the game is tracking what your mouse position in the world is, or your cursor position with your controller. Then we're going to do, this camera is going to move towards, then we're going to go to outputs, the mouse world position. That is the current position of your mouse in the world. We're going to do with flying. And then I'm going to increase the flying speed here. So go to movement, go to fly. I'm going to increase this to, let's say, 20. And then I also want to increase the acceleration to, let's say, 40. So what does that do? Just that by itself, all I did is added in basically a camera, and then this tracks the mouse position, and then it moves towards your in-world mouse position. And we're going to test. And now you'll see that, so we have our cursor right here, and as we are going around, then it's following us. Now it's getting caught up in the tree, so that means that our camera is too far, is not high up enough. So we can just change that by, let's turn collidable to, no, collidable off is correct. Let's change that just by bringing this camera further up in the world.
Lovely.
And there we go.
That looks great.
Yeah. So now we can kind of scroll around in here. And the other cool thing is, so this cursor is kind of hard to see. Oh yeah, ignore prop collision. Yep, we'll put in that modifier. So this cursor is kind of hard to see on a dirt surface. So we can actually create a custom cursor. And I'm going to just add in, thank you Mescad for the reminder, go to modifiers, ignore prop collision, and this makes it so that it will forget about these trees and your camera will no longer collide with these trees. All right. So what's a good cursor for like finding squirrels? Acorn. What if your cursor is an acorn?
I suppose it could be an acorn. I kind of like that. It could be a little cross if you're gonna display something. Oh, you want to make a 3D cursor?
Yeah. Have you ever done this before?
Ah.
It's not perfect. I mean, I could spend more time with a 2D cursor.
No, I think that looks great.
But 3D cursors it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting idea. So all I need to do really is it's going here. Let's copy this again. Let me just make sure that what the physics of this are. We don't want it as tumbling. We want it as fixed. We don't want it as collidable. And now we simply have within here when the mouse position, then simply this thing's position is going to be equal to your mouse position. So that stays in basically your mouse position.
Oh, lovely.
So just like that, we have we got this little guy here.
Nice.
So it's just like a unique way to kind of put an extra cursor kind of in your world. Yeah. So let's actually go into the actual scoring part of the game. So we got these good squirrels and we got these bad squirrels. The intended thing I want to happen is I hover over a squirrel, I press A to select it, and then gives me an option of do I press X or Y to choose if the squirrel is being good or bad. So I want to do a few different things here. So let's start with the bad squirrel. So what I want to do is I want to have it so that it checks to see how far away my cursor is from the squirrel. So if I can remember properly, checking the cursor, I want to do when your mouse position, looking at mouse position, then we want to do, I guess we want to give kind of like a range of the mouse position. Oh, no, you know what? Actually, no, I have an easier way of doing this. Let's go to the acorn again. All right, so the acorn is going to just look at all the squirrels. Yeah, it's going to detect all these squirrels. So let's add all these squirrels to an object set. You don't have to add these to an object set. I just like doing this.
So could you describe what an object... Actually, as you kind of go through, I'll describe what an object set is.
Yeah.
An object set is kind of this container that holds a bunch of... it could be numbers, but in this case... Or brains, even. But in this case, it's objects. Literal objects. So you can do things like highlight everything in this object set green, hologram everything in this object set, everything in this object set die, right? You're able to call I want to say functions or actions on all of these things in this set, and you can add to this object set and take away from it. So that's what Brian's doing here. So instead of having to grab these objects every single time, you can just kind of store them and save them for later.
Yeah, so now I'm looking in this object set of squirrels. And then, so the nearest squirrel, that is going to be my target. So target equals it. All right, so now I want to do when distance to my target is less than, let's say 5 meters maybe, or 4 meters. Doesn't have to be exactly on it.
Fair enough, fair enough. So when your acorn is close to a squirrel,
then first I just want to highlight it to make sure that I'm correctly, it is indeed going to be selected.
Okay, fair.
So first we highlight it, and then we're going to say that when the A button is pressed, then the target starts a Boolean called selected. And this is basically, so this is just making it so that once I've hit A, right? I should do that.
Yeah.
So once I've hit A, when I'm close to it, then it knows that it has been selected. So what happens when it's selected? So we can set that in here. All right, so when it's selected, we want to, I'm not going to spend time making, I don't think I'm going to spend time making UI, but you can spend time if you want making some cool UI. I'm going to bring in the sci-fi message box.
Sure.
And then I'm just going to simply say, is this squirrel out of whack?
I'm not sure you have squirrel quite right.
Is this squirrel...
Misbehaving, perhaps? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this... No. We have to remember the name. Is this squirrel squirreling around?
Okay.
Then I'm just going to simply just put in a new line here and just say... I could spend more time with UI and make it so that like you got like kind of a two little boxes above, like, yay, up here, press X. No, down here, press Y. I might do that at the end, but let's X for yeah.
Press X for yeah.
Then we're gonna do
New line, nice.
Press Y for nah. And we're gonna have this display extra large font.
Oh yeah, guys, make sure you do check out that Alienware giveaway site that S&D Acid Rain linked to. It's an awesome offer. If you already own that pack, you will not be able to get that the Get Started pack with the token or with the offer, but otherwise, be sure to check it out before you get started.
All right, so I'm gonna do, when I press X, then we're gonna start a Boolean. Yeah.
Boolean, yeah. I love your variable names. They're so great.
So you should not be like me, and you should always give very clear and concise Booleans. But I'm not going to, because this is my game. No. And I choose what I want.
Can't be no. That'd be elegant. Okay.
Okay, so when X is pressed, yeah equals true. When Y is pressed, nah equals true.
Okay.
And then we also just want to make it so that selected then equals false. And that way it turns off that message.
Great.
So pressing either one of these, selected will be equal to false. Actually, no, I don't need to do that because I'm going to delete the squirrel in the end. I'm just thinking of, like, as I'm going through this, I'm thinking of simpler ways to do it as well. So that's what this has been is useful for. Because then I can also just set this as under selected in case for some reason someone stumbles upon this and gets this message. All right, so when yeah, so this is, what am I in right now? I'm in my good squirrel. So is this squirrel misbehaving? I've said yeah. Is that right? No, that's not right. So how do I want to check that? I want to actually create another logic cube here in the middle that checks to see if your answers are correct and incorrect.
Ah, so this is our judge.
Yes. Ooh, I was going to call it something far less elegant than judging cube, but I'm going to call this judge cube. Judge cubey.
Judge cubey?
Damn it. Wait. Can't, I messed up the joke by mistyping. Okay, Judge QB.
I heard she's a mean, old-spirited judge. Had a
But
failed
fair.
reality television
But
show.
fair.
Okay, but fair.
Yes, but
Okay.
fair. Okay, so
What is Judge QB's ruling?
so when then we're going to do. No, we're going to do this on the do side. On the do side, we're going to say that in Judge QB, then we are going to set a Boolean called.
Wrong?
Yeah, I'll call it wrong. I was gonna say you're out of order.
Just so no one can do the tutorial, we're going to call this Boolean "you're out of order." I hope you guys don't. The other one is "I like you." So good luck completing the tutorial.
Okay, so we'll make this easier to understand. And we'll call this one right because you're not. This squirrel's not squirreling around, so you made the right choice.
Yes. On point about stuff. Some callers square. Oh goodness.
I need to remember these jokes that are flying at us in chat. These are great. Okay, so Judge QB, her Boolean wrong equals true, which seems like they conflict with each other. Wrong is true. What? We're also going to play an FX just to make it kind of look nice. We're going to play the poof. Where's the poof?
I just searched poof. Yeah.
Poof. All right. Got poof. And then we're going to destroy the squirrel. Sorry, squirrel. And then we're going to do the same thing here.
Oh, but you want to play a poof? I don't think so. Let's do magic explosion.
When you are right. Yeah, that's a good point. We wanted to make it look like you did a great thing.
Maybe I have these. Don't pick a purple one then.
Let's see. What about leveling up? The level up icon thing.
Sure. I think it's just called level up.
Yeah. I will search. All right. So, yeah, that seems right. All right. So, when, you're wrong. So, you play the poof. When right. Okay. All right. So, what happens in here? We're going to do when...
So, Swarmhammer says, did you know, Brian, new users find it easier to learn when you use proper naming conventions?
Really? So they prefer things that make sense rather than jokes. Okay. I could get behind that.
Good.
All right, so when wrong, then this is going to do display. We're going to use the sci-fi message text box. And here is where I can say you're out of order.
Okay, there you go. You found it.
All right. And then I want to have here, I'm going to bring in this thing. Wrong guesses. I'm going to increment. Oh, you want these to be global. So you can get around everything without having global, with having global, but since you seem to be, you're great at explaining stuff. What are globals?
I think I'll just explain what a global is every stream. Okay,
Yeah.
So a global is like having a thermostat for a whole building. And there's one central thermostat that when it's set, all the thermostats are set there. But each individual room also has its own individual thermostat. Those are local thermostats because they only change the room. The global thermostat changes all of them, and you could say that every thermostat points towards the central one.
That was actually pretty good. I gotta say that's actually a great. I need to remember that one.
Yeah, don't worry. Every week I'll have another. I'll just keep getting better. Eventually I'll be able to explain global to someone who doesn't understand at all and will just completely grok it. It'll be great.
Yeah, and so just quick thing, why am I using started to? Started to runs for just one tile, and or one frame, and that's important for me because I just want to increment or increase wrong guesses by 1. If I don't have this, then it'll keep on increasing by 1 because it doesn't know how often it should run. So this just runs it the one time. And then after 1 second, so it displays that message for 1 second, and then that goes away. Okay, so then we have the Boolean right, and this is going to increase the correct guesses by 1. And what's a funny right thing? Squirreling around, right thing. Squirrel-tastic.
Squirrel-tastic.
It's not my A game material.
You know what, Brian? We're a team, so I have to support your decisions.
Right.
I think that was a great use of words to convey a message.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I want to display this. Screen center. I want to do the same thing with the other one. You know what? What's our timing looking like? We're half an hour in. Okay,
Yes.
We're actually making good timing.
We are.
So I want to explain one thing here, just because it's something we haven't surfaced too often, and something our community has been really great at documenting themselves. It's a really cool thing that you can do with text strings. And what I'm talking about is style bold. So that right there, for people who are familiar with web programming, that looks really similar to CSS. And it's to a point. It's because this does actually add styling to your text in game. So I do this, style bold. I do plus. Then the text. Now this applies bolding to whatever text is on this line. So now I've made the text in here bold.
Yes, absolutely.
So you can also do it with style italics. You can also set a size of anywhere from 0 to 60 in here as well, and that works. So it's just a cool thing, cool styling you can do yourself in code, and it's something that some users are very familiar with because they figured this out on their own, but a lot of users are not because we haven't really surfaced this as often.
Right.
And yeah, this is really similar to HTML and CSS. Actually, this is exactly HTML inline styling. Because I have a background of a web developer, so this was music to my ears when I first saw this. I know this.
Oh, something I understand. This is lovely.
Yeah, exactly. So that just added some styling, some bolded styling. And yes, as Word Andrew said, you can set color there too. We are gonna come out with some documentation on sort of all of the different things you can set within here. But there's some cool things you can set here. Okay, so now I have that correctly kind of telling me when I made a correct guess and a wrong guess. Let's see this in operation. So I want to do. Oh right,
You're highlighting the.
I'm highlighting the acorn. This is why we playtest.
But honestly, though, playtesting is a really great idea because there's so many little things you're constantly doing that any one of these tiles we're putting down, the way you use them can affect your game. You really want to make sure that you playtest constantly, because if you have a lot of these very simple errors pile up, it gets to be a problem. But if you're playtesting every, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that, and making sure that it's never that broken, then it's a lot less work for you.
Yeah, you know what? I think this is a failed experiment for now. So,
Okay.
But I like the code in here, so I'm just going to turn this acorn off to visible. So only people who actually go inside this world will know that an acorn is at work as a cursor. I'm going to call this cursor also.
Okay.
Because actually, you know what? I actually think this is so far content pack free. So I think we might actually upload this at the very end of the stream.
That sounds great.
Oh no, it's not. We use the okay. I can take care of that. We use the sci-fi messages. Okay, so let's just test this. So we go around. Got our squirrel. Let's press A. A has been pressed. Nothing is happening, but that's okay because we're playtesting. Oh right, I've only put it in that squirrel. This is why we playtest. So press X for yeah, Y for nah. Let's press X. Bam. You're out of order. Ah, I was wrong.
There you go.
All right. Let's bring this. I think I'm still kind of far away, so I'm going to bring this camera down. And I am going to set a distance of, let's decrease this to 20.
Or 15. But 20 is also good.
Yeah.
I support your decisions.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. And now, nothing happens to the bad squirrel because it is brainless currently. This bad squirrel has no idea what's happening within the good squirrel. So we're going to bring in this brain here by pasting it.
Nice.
I copy the page and I'm pasting the page. I don't need this. I do need to keep the jump. Okay, so it's going to have the same message.
Except the input will be different.
Yeah, exactly. So when you say yeah, this squirrel is misbehaving, so Judge QB knows that it is right. You said the right thing. When you say nah, it's not misbehaving, well, it actually is. So Judge QB should know that it's wrong.
You know, some things I heard about Judge QB. She doesn't get a lot of traction with her points. But
that was okay.
that was okay.
that was B minus.
was not done, Brian. You can't just interrupt me mid pun.
oh, it's still going on. My bad.
They say she kind of slides between points a lot, though.
Ah, okay. That was a good one. Okay. Yeah. I should have waited for the pun. Okay. So now we have the bad squirrel. Let's go ahead and test this guy out. And is this squirrel swirling around? Yeah, he is. Squirrel-tastic. You're correct. It's blocking my my view of him, so I actually want to just quickly change the screen position to screen bottom center for both of these. So it's not covering up this squirrel. You want to see the squirrel because you want to get a closer inspection on them when you have them selected, or not a closer, but just continue to inspect them. So there we go. We press A. All right, I need to figure out a better detection. Is this squirrel squirreling around? Yeah, he is. Squirrel-tastic.
Squirrel-tastic.
Let's also change these to be screen top.
Cool. I think that's great.
So that message kind of appears at the top. All right, let me mess around with my sensor here.
How about you have a cast array at the ground?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah, so I want to do... Yes, exactly. So actually, what I want to quickly do is I want to set its X position to be the mouse's X position. I want its Z position to be the mouse's Z position. And Y is up and down in the world. X and Z are what make a 3D plane. But Y is what goes up and down in the world. So Y is important because I want this thing to be on the ground. And I think it's hovering off the ground right now. So let's have it continue to be on the ground. Just like that.
Cool.
All right, so...
so how would you do that?
So we're like hitting on so many beats here.
Yes.
We were talking about a lot of cool things. I want to use some ray casting.
Okay.
Raycast basically draws a point towards whatever direction you want it to point towards, and say, "Are you hitting something where I'm asking you to look at?"
Right.
So I am looking at world down. So it's basically telling the squirrel, "Look downwards in the world. Where are you hitting something?" And then it says, "I'm hitting something 1 meter away," and then you can use that for useful things that I'm going to show you.
Right.
So I want to set a vector, and I want to call this floating, and I want to use the output here. Floating equals my hit position, and the hit position is basically where the current vector position is hitting.
So what Raycast does is it draws a line, which is a distance between 2 points. What that line is, meaning what the 2 points are, is the beginning of that line is the center of your object. That's called. And the end of that point is the first thing it hits. And between that is a line. So when you say the hit position, it's called a cast because you are casting a line from yourself to another object. So the cast position is your object. The hit position is where that ray or that line hits another object.
And I actually want to just look at terrain. I don't want to look at objects here either.
Right.
So what this is basically doing, I want my cursor to float a tiny bit above the stage. And so this is just making it so that I'm at the same X and Z position as my cursor, but I am kind of floating. This is 2 meters above my hit point on the world. So this should now work quite a bit better. It actually works too well because I'm 6 meters away from the squirrels pretty far. So actually, now it works well, I can bring this down to when the distance to my target is, let's say, less than 3 meters. Then I highlight them red. And now this should work well. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Now we have some highlighted squirrels.
Yeah, so bam. Is a squirrel squirreling around? Press X. Yeah, he is.
Squirrel-tastic.
Is this squirrel squirreling around?
No, he's not, man. He's just chilling.
Then
He's just a chilling squirrel.
that's
Also
squirrel-tastic all
squirrel-tastic.
too. So let's quickly do this where I want to set right to be off. So you notice Squirrel-tastic wasn't disappearing after a second, and that's because right was not setting us off after 1 second. Okay, now I can finally tackle all the scoring stuff. So I've been tracking basically, in this brain, I've been tracking every time I get a right guess or a wrong guess, it's tracking it here by increasing my wrong guesses, increasing my right guesses. I also want to put a timer in here. So I'm going to display the timer right here. So let's do a display. Then we are going to display your timer. And I don't have to make it global. I don't have to make your stage score global either, because these only care about in here. So display your timer. We are going to put this in the top right of your screen. We're going to make this extra large. We are also going to make this yellow. Yellow seems like the right kind of right thing for this. Okay. So your timer starts out at 30.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is every second, so countdown timer of 1, and you loop. So this loops every single second. Then the timer decreases by 1 point.
Right. We are missing a little bit of scoping here, though.
Such as?
Started to.
Oh, nope. Have you ever used this without started to? It actually works without started to also. You would think that you need to do started to, but when you loop a countdown timer, it only runs for actually 1 frame.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you show it here, then we have...
Oh, look at that. I just always assumed. You are right, good sir.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing about certain things in Project Spark. There's a few things where we take kind of shortcuts based on what you are trying to imply. So this is one of those things where usually you would use started to make this run for only 1 frame, but you don't need to because it loops. Okay, so now your timer goes down to 0. A cool thing I can do also is when your timer is less than or equal to 10, I'm actually going to copy this over here. Then I want to, let's delete this here. Then I want to, I'm basically making it so that kind of you get a visual cue also when your timer is getting low. So when it is, when you're at 10 seconds and counting down from 10 seconds, then the timer's red.
Lovely.
When you're between kind of 30 to 11 seconds, then the timer is yellow. And that uses else, because it's saying that your timer is not less than or equal to 10. All right, so now we want to do when timer. And actually, here's just a simple thing that I want to do to make your timer stop at 0. When your timer is greater than 0, then it runs this stuff. So as soon as it hits 0, your timer will stop decreasing itself.
Lovely.
All right, so when your timer is equal to 0, then we can do this. Let's do Boolean, even though we actually don't even need to. But this just helps kind of make this easier to understand. Then we're going to start a Boolean called your stage score. So when your timer is equal to 0, that means it's time to tell you how you scored.
So this is interesting. So Brian kind of hit on something that is a really good kind of general practice. You can keep going if you want to.
Okay.
General practice in Project Spark, and that is using Booleans as what people usually refer to in programming as functions. Now, Boolean is something that's just true or false, but in Project Spark, we kind of use what you could call a light state machine. And so functions will usually do some stuff when you call them in programming. You say, like, run the jump function, and then all these things happen. You can use Booleans much in the same way in Project Spark, saying, I want once turn this on, and then within this Boolean, we'll have that turn itself off. And that's what you call scoping. So we can scope how long this Boolean is on for. It could be a couple frames, it could be minutes, it could even be hours if you had a very long game. Or it could be based on where you are in the world. Who knows? And you have this set of rules that only runs when you want it to run. And it's all underneath this Boolean. And that kind of helps you, what's called scope, what you want to do in your game.
Yeah. So now I'm just kind of displaying your sheet, your score sheet. So let's do this in screen center. Okay, here's the one where I'm going to put a lot of stuff. All right, so this is gonna become a pretty long line because what we want to do is correct. I'm just call this correct. No, we'll call it correct guesses. So your correct guesses. It's going to have its own line. And then we're going to bring in to display this global Boolean here. Yep. And then we want to add in a new line. I like to do things this way actually, where I just add in a new line here and it just puts stuff on the next line below.
Sure, absolutely.
Kind of, this is basically your paragraph break. Then I want to have on my next line, we want to call this one incorrect or wrong guesses. And the time, okay, still not too bad.
You can bring it together in 14 minutes, I have faith.
Yeah. And then we are going to look at the wrong guesses here. Okay, now we are going to add in the next one is the time remaining. So we want to call this, oh, that's a number variable. I want to do a text variable. And we want to look at your timer here. Hey guys, what's up everyone? You have Spark Brian here, back. Then we want to give you your final stage score. So we'll do one last line, and we want to put it here. And we'll call this one final score.
Lovely.
but we want to actually bring in the score.
That is timer.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm
Stage
picking
score.
up where you're
Okay,
going.
there we go. Just look at all this. Plus stage score. Oh, forgot to put a plus right here. So it's a lot of text on kind of one thing, and I want this all to kind of be together. And then the last thing is we want to display your rating. So let's see, how do I want to do this?
Bruce said this line could have been easier to read in 20 lines.
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know, I'm weird like that where I enjoy it being all in one line. Okay, I'm just going to basically display a number here. So we're going to actually have a new number variable called squirrel rating.
Squirrel rating? What is a squirrel rating?
You'll see soon.
Okay. Axfresh says go big or go home in terms of lines. Brian is obviously not going home.
Okay. And I want to set squirrel rating to 0. So at the end, I want to give you a rating of 0 to 3 squirrels. How you did. 0 means you just failed. You just did not do well. 1 means you passed. You did okay. 2 means you did a pretty good job. 3 means you were outstanding.
I am an outstanding squirrel judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now when the round ends, then your stage score is equal to true. There's one other thing that we want to do, actually. We want to also make it so that... Alright, so let's just actually... before I do that. We want to make it so that once you've selected every squirrel here, if you've done it before the time runs out, then that also ends the game. So what we can simply do is... we can just look for the global squirrel count.
Yeah. Probably not in the global squirrels. Yeah.
So we can also look at... So when your timer is equal to 0, stage score equals true. And actually, I want to make it so that your timer also can stop when stage score is true. So when your timer is at 0 or stage score... that's all I need to say. Then your timer stops running. So now I can do when the global object set squirrels, their count is less than 1.
Indeed.
Then stage score is equal to true also.
We're putting 2 squirrels in a jar, not 2 squirrels in a cup. So...
Alright. Let's just test this with our 2 squirrels before we...
Well, that was close.
Yeah. So, problem is that that initialized before these squirrels had added themselves to that object set.
Right. Absolutely. So,
the simplest thing I do, but you can tell me what you think, is I just wait a second before I look at that.
Sure.
Because there's no way you're going to get every squirrel in 1 second.
Nope. Can't. You can't possibly get every squirrel in 1 second.
All right. Also, I want to make this a bit better by adding something more to this gargantuan long line.
Good. Because you know what I think when I look at that line?
It needs more?
It is way too small.
Let's just put this in the fantasy message box. And let's also put this in the fantasy message box. Bam. Okay. Alrighty. So, is this squirrel scrolling around? Yeah, he is. What? I was wrong. No. All right, is this squirrel scrolling around? I think he is. Then, round over.
You got 0 squirrels.
Because I haven't set.
You are so bad that it's not even giving you a score.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing is, time remaining is still going down.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So that's something we need to...
Probably because you set it to true and not true.
Exactly. And also continues to go down after 0. So, there is something going on. There's something afloat here. First thing I want to do is let's put this one at the screen bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so when your timer maybe I'll do when else. Then we'll just do timer equals timer.
Okay.
It equals itself.
That's not a line that'll make anything mad ever. That's good.
Yeah.
Oops. Oh no.
All right, while you're working on the camera, I'm going to start adding squirrels to the world.
Okay, I'm gonna do
Because
that.
we have only one bad squirrel and one good squirrel. So enough with just 2 squirrels. We want to see action here.
There we go. Okay. Good. Now we have a lot of squirrels. We have a game nearly ready.
Uh-huh.
Our tutorial is looking nearly complete.
Okay. So, all right, last thing I haven't done is the stage score and squirrel rating. Okay, so I also haven't actually done what the heck correct guesses and wrong guesses means. So here's my thinking.
Yes.
Every time you guess correctly, that's 20 points. Every
Okay.
time you guess incorrectly, that's negative 10 points.
Ah.
And your timer, every second you have left is 10 points.
Okay.
So we want to set what our stage score is equal to. We want to do this under here. So your stage score, this is going to be equal to lots of math.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
So we first want to do your global correct guesses. First want to look at that. So, and we want to multiply that by, I said 20 points per right guess.
So multiply that by 20. Awesome.
All right, and that, we minus that by your global incorrect guesses. So, let's do...
Make sure we put the global in there.
Yep. I call this wrong guesses, that's right. All right, global wrong guesses, and that is multiplied by, each of those will take off 10 points. It's multiplied by 10. And then...
Are you guys streaming?
Yeah, we are
Hey.
indeed.
Hey, Henry.
How goes
No
it?
regulars around?
Yeah.
Hey, I came by. So what's today's tutorial?
On scoring.
Looks like scoring. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I am doing a game called Squirreling Around, where it's basically you have to choose which squirrels are behaving good, which ones are behaving poorly. And
all
then
of them behave poorly.
and at the very end, you're scored on how well you have identified those squirrels.
Nice. I just finished demoing X-Zero and Space Gunk and a couple other games to a few people just recently again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. It's great to see X-Zero in the banner too.
Yeah, it's really, really an amazing game.
It is. Well, maybe next week I'll hop by for longer, and I'm gonna go have to deal with another squirrel. So good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Henry.
See you guys.
All right. So then the last thing we want to do, every second remaining, we multiply it by 10 for that second.
Nice.
Okay. So there we go. Your stage score is going to be equal to all of these things interacting with each other.
Oh, someone asked who Henry is. He's
Yeah, Henry is the
creative guy around here.
Yes, he's a creative director behind Project Spark. He was one of the main people behind the vision for Project Spark, and has an amazing resume of stuff he's worked on in the past. Okay, so your stage score, we got that set. So now your stage score is going to be equal to something. Now we're
Definitely equal to something.
yeah.
Something that hopefully represents how well you did in the game.
Right? That is the hope.
Okay.
All right,
let's do
so
it.
this guy, he's good.
He's good.
Yep.
Oh,
But I said he was wrong.
Oh,
All right, he's scrolling around.
for sure.
All right, this guy, he is not scrolling around.
No, not at all. Behaving himself.
Squirrel-tastic. All right, I'm doing pretty well.
Squeakerifically.
This guy is.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
God.
you got 8 seconds.
I'm bad at my own
Judge
game.
faster, judge faster.
Oh no!
Here you go. So.
Oh no, my final score is going down.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Okay.
My final score is in the negatives.
That's not
I did
great.
not do well,
And
guys.
unfortunately, it's only going to get worse from there.
Yeah. All right. So let's lock this guy down. So we're just gonna say when not stage score. We're just gonna set that.
Interesting. Okay.
So as soon as the stage score boolean becomes true, and then also I'm just gonna set in something here to just make sure that when this is just kind of an extra precautionary method. When your timer is less than 0, then it should not be less than 0, and it should be equal to 0.
When it's
This is just telling
equal to less than 0, you're wrong and stop it.
Yeah, exactly. This is just telling the bad kid who's misbehaving to stop it. Okay, so scroll rating. I would say if I have less than 40 points, I did not do a good job.
Okay, I
So
agree.
my squirrel weight rating would be 0.
Wow, 0 squirrels?
Yes.
Wow.
So when you're all right,
That's like out of 10, I give you a 0.
yeah, exactly.
This game out of 10, worse.
All right, so after your stage score is calculated, then we want to use that stage score for the final score. So when your stage score is greater than or equal to, let's say 50. Give you 40. We'll do 40. Okay, so when your stage score is equal to 40, then we are going to have your squirrel score, which is your squirrel rating, is going to be equal to...
Moose said, I think I found a bug in this level. You won't let me downrate it more than once.
All right, when it's greater than 40, and also your stage score is less than, let's say, less than or equal to, no, we'll just do less than 80.
Okay.
80 is the next tier.
Okay.
So I want to do these kind of in tiers, basically. Then your squirrel rating will be equal to 1. Then when it is greater than or equal to 80, and it's less than, let's say, 120.
Okay. Whoa, that's a lot of squirrel judging.
Squirrel rating is equal to 2. And
If it's
when,
above 120, I guess?
Yeah, when it's greater than 120, then your squirrel rating is equal to 3.
Awesome.
All right, so all of that now makes this a challenging game.
Okay. Is our timer going down? Awesome.
Yep. So this guy, he is not scrolling around. This guy.
Oh my god, faster. Oh my god, a third of your time has gone by. Faster, Brian, faster. Judge like the wind. Yeah, no, he's cool, he's chill, he's not causing all kinds of trouble. He's chill. You got 5 seconds. No, trouble. He's good. He's fine.
Oh my god. I was not good at it. All right, so I had 11 correct guesses, 2 wrong guesses. My final score is 200. This is not too shabby.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
So yeah,
You
just
got
like
3
that.
squirrels. You got 3 squirrels. Good going.
Yeah, I got his rating was 3 squirrels, and I just also happen to have 3 squirrels left. So that brings us to the hour mark. This is the start of something cool. You could imagine this being round number 1 in a 50-round game of Squirreling Around.
Indeed.
Then you can have spawn the next round with even more squirrels. Some of them are kind of sort of screwing around, squirreling around. So you have to decide, are they squirreling around too much?
Yes, I agree. This is really. Oh, we should make the yay and nay flip flop. That
Oh.
would be really rough. Whoa, sweets. That is a terrible thing to do. I like your thinking.
Yeah. So, I mean, the basic takeaway for the people who are working on scoring is you'll probably notice I spent the majority of the stream working on actually just the gameplay rather than scoring, because scoring itself is pretty easy to do in Project Spark. You just have to decide what are all the different things you want to check for, make sure those are running within your game, and then you combine those all at the very end with some nice math to get a final score, and then use that final score, find the range of it, and get a final rating. And just like that, you're on your way to making the next great scoring convention game.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, yeah, I'd say, again, this will be up on YouTube if you guys want to review. We should be able to upload this as well. Moose said he would downvote this, so I think this will be an amazing pedagogical level. That's your word of the day. Google it if you don't know.
Yeah.
Look it up on your phone. So that's our stream, guys. You'll see us Thursday, if not sooner.
Uh-huh.
There is the Spark Cast tomorrow, hosted by Paradox Moose.
Yep.
One of us, if not both of us. One and or both of us.
Right.
Will be on that. And we'll see you Thursday, if not sooner, guys.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to upload this now.
Go for it.
We are going to call this one... You know what? We're going to end this with an upload. We're going to call this Squirreling Around. Let's get a good screenshot in here.
Okay.
Oh my god, it looks like
How
so
about-
much Squirreling Around.
How about Squirreling Round dash a Team Dakota tutorial? Nope. That's cool. Too many
yeah.
characters.
We're going to call this As Seen on the Team Dakota Twitch stream. Now available for your squirreling pleasure.
Squirreling pleasure. I don't know how to squirrel, but if I played this game, I would quickly do that.
And bam. We end with a full release of this. We're going to try and do this more often for our Tuesday streams. Right after we work on this, it is live for you guys. So thanks everyone for tuning in, for watching. Hope you learned some cool things about how to use Project Spark.
Cool. Great. See you guys.
Create your game as you play? Any Spark can do it. Spark, activate the portals.